In 2013, fans of the Fire Emblem franchise were treated to the surprise release of the 13th entry in this long-running JRPG series with Fire Emblem Awakening. It was the first epic game released on the Nintendo 3DS, and introduced several new changes to the franchise that managed to attract a much wider audience. The game was published by Nintendo, who told the development team, Intelligent Systems, that if the game did not sell over 250,000 copies, that this would be the last game in the series. Yeah, so Awakening sold over 180,000 copies within its first month, and as of 2017, has sold over 1.9 million copies worldwide. And with its 10th anniversary over here in the States coming up, I decided it would be the perfect time to revisit this classic now that the latest entry, Fire Emblem Engage, has just launched. With all that out of the way, hey, my name is Jude, and if you're new to the land of waifus and husbandos, I'm here to tell you what is Fire Emblem Awakening. So let's get that story out of the way, shall we? The game begins with our two main characters, Chrom and Robin, battling this Jafar-looking wannabe over here named Valadar. And all goes well until Robin pulls an Uno reverse card and unalives the blue-haired husbando. We then wake up and find out that it was all a dream, and are introduced to Chrom's sister Lissa and their knight Frederick. Oh, and Robin has amnesia. And pretty obvious where this is going. So we take down some bandits, eat our hands for dinner, and are then greeted to the sky having a baby. Or several babies, actually.
Squidward! The sky had a baby from my cereal box! Squidward! Squidward, the sky had a baby!
That's not a baby. That's a giant anchor. Now go away.
Well, at least one of those babies turned out to be good, as Marth from Persona 5 swoops in and steals Lissa's heart. But who is this mysterious swordsman who fell from the sky? Don't worry about that, because some less interesting units arrive to join the party. And after defeating the monsters, we're introduced to the rest of the shepherds. Sumiya, who's on her way to steal your husbando. The Vake, Sully from that Pixar movie. The archer who belongs in the trash. That's about it. We're then introduced to Chrom's older sister, Emran, who is the ruler of the kingdom called Elise. She informs the shepherds that their neighboring country of Plegia is out to start a war and grab the Fire Emblem. Now in every game, the Fire Emblem is something completely different. In this one, it's a shield powered by these 5 gemstones. Their goal is to seize the emblem and resurrect the fell dragon, Grima. So it's up to Chrom and the shepherds to stop Plegia from destroying the world. And then we find out that Marth over here isn't from Persona 5. Or isn't even Marth at all.
You're pretending to be a boy, aren't you?
Huh? You're a girl?
You didn't notice? And quite the actress, too. Honestly, I'm surprised you didn't figure it out until just now.
This is Lucina, Chrom's daughter from the future who traveled back in time to stop Grima from being resurrected and destroying the world. And those monsters they fought are called the Risen. They're basically zombies that are Grima's foot soldiers. And from here, the shepherds, along with Lucina and several other future children, fight the neighboring kingdoms of Valve and Plegia. And so the race is on to stop Valadar from resurrecting Grima, taking down this other country that no one cares about, as well as get that darn 4th Chaos Emerald before Shadow the Hedgehog does.
He never did find that 4th Chaos Emerald, did he? That's probably why I got in Smash and he didn't.
So the story itself is good, but not great. It certainly starts out strong, however. It's got some good world building, some genuine sad moments, character growth, etc. The second half is where things start to become less interesting. The villains for this portion are just as lacking in interest as their kingdom is. Sure, Wilhart does look a bit intimidating, but there's not much else to him really. Yanfei, on the other hand, suffers from questionable motivations. The only villain that really stands out is Gangrel. He's the first major threat you come across, and gosh diddly dang, this guy is just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You get the feeling that this guy's been a king for a while, and that he's just so bored with his life that he started a war to escape that for him. I mean, after everything that happens in Chapter 9, he just laughs hysterically. And then when his soldiers begin to desert en masse, he doesn't care what's happening. So it's all the more satisfying when he finally gets what he deserves. If only the Mad King could realize he's just a puppet for Valadar and Aversa.
You'll get what's coming to you.
What's coming to you? Huh? To hell with all of it.
The final chapters, however, managed to pick up the quality, though only by a little bit, with some decent twists and a pretty climactic ending. There are a few instances where the game will tell you to make a choice that will determine the outcome of the story, but literally all of these are a lie. Because no matter what you choose, the outcome will always be the exact same. The only choice that actually matters is the final one, which determines what kind of ending you'll get. but the story wouldn't be nearly as engaging without a good cast of characters. And this is one of the reasons why Fire Emblem is so well loved, on top of other things. And there are a lot, and I mean a lot of units to choose from. You'll be playing as a shepherd army throughout the game. You've got the leader Chrom, who's your primary lord of the game, who can be a little awkward at times, but cares greatly for his friends. His impulsiveness tends to get him in trouble, as he is not a good negotiator, which isn't super great as a leader, but he does have a great sense of compassion. When he confronts Wellheart, he knows that Chrom is the kind of ruler who lives with and for his people. He is the good boy, shonen protag of the game who saves the day with the power of friendship. But he's also kind of stupid. Next, we have Robin. Robin is your standard customizable player character. They're built to be relatable to the player while not having too much of a personality of their own, though they were smart enough to not make them a blank slate like in other games. They're a very good strategist, able to come up with crazy plans to win the battle. And Robin is able to befriend just about anyone they meet. Sort of. See, it's revealed that Robin here is the vessel for Grima, and Valdar can control them because he's their father?
That's not true! That's impossible!
Lastly, we have Lucina, my favorite character in the game. A beautiful, blue-haired waifu who journeyed back in time to save her father and stop Grima from being resurrected. Despite her age, she is a very strong-willed and serious woman, willing to do whatever it takes to save her dad, even if it means killing her husband. Wait, what? Though she does understand that they have a smaller version of her to handle and won't interfere with them raising her. That being said, Lucy over here sure has a bit of a mischievous side to her. In her support with Chrom, she throws a sparring match just so she can have a conversation with them afterwards. She also, understandably, has no sense of humor, and is the least likely to get a joke in the army. I mean, she did come from an apocalyptic future after all. Like how no one knows her actual name is Lucina. I mean, lasagna.
Take this!
I mean, Lucy. I mean,
Foolishness, Jude. You can't see her. Her time is now, and her name is Lucina!
I can't believe Lucy just John Cena'd me. Anyways, it's time to go over some of my favorite characters in the game. First up is Chrom's little sister, Lissa. She's a bit of a tomboy who loves to pull childish pranks on others in the army. And she has a simplistic look on the world, having grown up as royalty and all. Although, she does have a desire to be more ladylike, like her older sister, Emrin. It's also a really cute touch that if Lissa's promoted to the Sage class, she wears the same outfit that Em does. Next we have Stahl, a good boy who loves to eat, and that's about it. But seriously, the dude's a big old softie, with a heart of gold to match. He considers himself average to the rest of the army, which is a lie. I mean, have you seen the health on this dude? And in his support with Cordelia, more on her later, he actually ends up learning how to play the harp with her. Overall, he's just a simple and chill guy who just wants to help people. And then there's everyone's favorite farmer boy, Donnie. You recruit him in the first paralogue of the game, and he's a simple dude who ends up joining the army after plucking up some courage. Despite not knowing much about the world outside of his farm, Donnie is quite skilled in various survival skills, like fishing and hunting. I also love getting him together with Lissa, since it's a poor farmer boy falling in love with an adorable little princess. Next, there's Long Ku, a Myrmidon hailing from the small country of Kansen. And boy howdy does he make a good first impression. The first time you meet him, he comes across as a cold, quiet man who doesn't like women for some reason. He prefers to be kept at a respectful distance from them, and this is because of his backstory. He had a childhood friend growing up named Kairi, who was killed by bandits, and her parents blame him for her death. Long Ku strives to be more like the Westcon Basilio, admiring him for his strength and skill. And in his support with Olivia, he ends up cutting the flask perfectly just like Basilio. And now we get to everyone's favorite beautiful, red-haired knight, Cordelia. Cordelia is a Pegasus knight who joins Chrom's army early in the game, and boy howdy, could she not be any happier. Cordelia here has the biggest crush on Chrom ever. Despite this, she cannot support with him in any way. And even if she gets married off, she's clearly still not over him. Aside from that, she's very good at what she does, and can be quite the perfectionist, but has a bit of low self-esteem. Personally, I ship her with Stahl, as we learn that she picked up the harp to play a song for Chrom on his birthday growing up. And plus, good old boy Stahl deserves a hot knight like her. Next on my list here is Olivia. Olivia is a shy and talented girl who has very low self-esteem, often getting flustered when someone compliments her dancing skills. It stinks that she doesn't believe in herself, man. I mean, look at her, dude. She's dropped dead gorgeous. Unfortunately, she's as frail as can be, having very little defense and kind of bad damage. Speaking of not believing in herself, Olivia and Lonku are my favorite ship in the entire game. They're both shy and awkward around people, and the fact that she's the one who helps them finally cut the flask is amazing. They also overcome a bit of their shyness together, with the most lewd of all sins known only as hand-holding.
Hold my hand. Now!
The next character on my list here is Anna, or Anna, I really don't care. One of several Annas in the game, actually. This one ends up joining the party, and boy howdy does she love money. Like, even if you marry her, she still loves her money more than you. That's right, buddy. She's also not afraid to use people in her get-rich-quick schemes, like when she tried to get Tiki into her latest scheme. You know, with all the Annas looking the same, you have to wonder how their family reunions go. Probably something like this.
You still know the cheapskate handshake?
Of course.
Penny pinching, penny pinching.
Woo! Woo! Cheap, cheap, cheap.
And the last character on my list here, we have Sayri, the strong and beautiful princess of the conquered land of Ponsan. On my first playthrough, I didn't think much of her as a character, but upon replaying through the game for this video, I found her to be quite underrated. She speaks very differently from everyone else in the party, and often talks on and on about how much she loves her homeland. Speaking of her homeland, why don't Sayri and Lonku have supports in the game? Like, they're from the exact same country. Sayri holds hatred for her brother Yin Fei, who betrayed her to the Valve Empire, but deep down, she still does care for her traitorous brother. I also love it that she can wield his weapon after defeating him in battle, and because it's a really good weapon. Aside from that, she's also known to be fond of rice, and an excellent painter. She also cares quite deeply for the safety of the mannequin Tiki, often calling her my lady, and even freaks out when she falls asleep, because she's worried that she'll slumber for another century or two. Honestly, if it wasn't for Lucina in this game, I would have totally S-supported Sayri. But I'm a faithful man and romance Lucina for the 100th time, and...
Wait, you did what with my daughter?
I'm sorry.
Now that that's taken care of, how about you continue on with the video, Jude?
And what assurance do I have that you won't try to blow me up if I continue?
Do I have to get out Pointy Demon Spanker again?
Boy howdy, you are scary when you're angry.
Why, Jude, I'm afraid I have absolutely no idea what you mean. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be spending time with my father until you need me.
Yeah, sure, honey. Anyways, Fire Emblem Awakening itself is a tactical RPG, which has dating sim elements sprinkled in the Spicy Club. If you played one Fire Emblem, you know how this works. You command a limited number of units, send them off into battle, and so on and so forth. Now, Awakening is unique in that it introduces a new mechanic called the pair-up system. But let me tell you, this is insanely busted, because when 2 units pair up, their stats also increase as well. On top of that, there's a chance that both people will attack at the same time, doing extra damage as well. It can also be used to help level up a lower level unit and get them caught up if you pair them with a much stronger unit. So be sure to look at each pair up and see who gets what from the benefits. Now, during battles, you will see 3 important factors for each encounter: how much damage they'll inflict, the chances of them hitting, and the odds of a critical activation. On normal mode, you can get away with just autopiloting through some encounters, but on hard mode, that stuff ain't gonna fly. Cause let me tell you, I've seen the game get away with some dirty cheating on hard mode. Like, when an enemy had an 11% chance to hit, and the game gave it to him anyway. What the heck, Lonku?
Pay attention. Breathe deep. I'll make this quick. Pick a god and pray.
Fire Emblem is known for having a system called permadeath. Before this game, when a unit fell in battle, they would be unalived for good, which would then lead players to just restart the game after losing too many units in battle. With Awakening and onwards, intelligence systems introduced the casual mode, where when a unit falls in battle, they're not gone forever. And if this is your first Fire Emblem, please, play on casual mode. Despite these games being tactical RPGs, there's only so much you can do in a game before someone's going to die. Unfortunately, this does not apply for Chrom and Robin. When they die, it's game over. And most chapters will require you to bring one or the other, so get them some experience while you can. Another new addition to Awakening are the S supports. Basically, supports in Fire Emblem are conversations that allow your units to chat and learn more about each other. The tiers go from C to B to A and then finally to S. S rank is where they will get married, and halfway through the game, you can recruit their kids from the future. Now, as a heads up, be sure to S support certain units when they have all the skills that you want to pass on to the child unit, as they will inherit whatever skills their parents have by the time they seal the deal. For example, it's highly recommended that Cordelia be S-supported after she learns Gale Force, because her daughter Severa will learn Gale Force as well. Now, some kids are better than others out there, but the best child units are without question Lucina and Morgan. Lucina because she can inherit her father's skill Aether, which allows her to heal from a crit, and she comes with her own Falchion as well. Morgan, on the other hand, can become one of the most broken units in the entire game. Like their parents, they have access to the Grandmaster class, which can learn skills like Ignis and Rally Spectrum. These increase all stats up to +4 for a single turn. So if you're gonna bring any kids into Warfare, bring your son or daughter. Unless you're stupid like me and let Morgan get unalived during battle, but don't worry about that. Just don't tell Lucina I lost a kid, okay?
My baby boy!
Moving on, we have the class system next. Fire Emblem has a wide variety of classes for your army to promote and reclass into. When a unit reaches level 10, they can be promoted into the second tier of their class. Most classes will have 2 options on what they can become. For example, Myrmidons can become Swordmasters or an Assassin, while Dark Mages can become either a Dark Knight or a Sorcerer. You also have a few unique classes that only certain characters can promote into. Prom and Lucina are both the Lord class, so they can promote into the Great Lord class later on. And the Tactician can promote into the Grandmaster class. There's also classes like the Togwells and the Manichees, which cannot be reclassed into. Only certain units can become these. Both classes will use these stones here to turn into these creatures. You've got your archers, they suck. They can only attack from range, and their skills just aren't worth it in the end. So if they get hit by a melee unit, yeah, they're gonna die. Also, how come archers can only attack from range, but mages can attack up close? In fact, you know what's better than a mage? A flying mage! Say hello to the Dark Flyers. Dark Flyers are super busted. Aside from having access to both lances and tomes, they can unlock the skill called Gale Force, which is one of the best skills in the entire game, as it gives the unit a second turn if they kill an opponent on the first turn. The Villager class is unique to Donnie, and it does not make a good first impression. It does trash damage, has trash defense, so you may think this thing sucks, right? Wrong. They come with a skill called Aptitude. This baby increases the growth rates of your units when they level up. So when Donnie Boy over here reclasses into a mercenary, hoo boy!
What a loser!
I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is.
The last class I'll go over is the Great Knight. The first time you're introduced to this class is with Frederick, and when you see this guy cleaning house and dominating the battlefield, pick a god and pray. Unfortunately, Frederick's growth rates are terrible. Halfway through the game, he gets outperformed by the rest of your army, and is practically useless at that point. Heck, I even tried to reclass him into a Wyvern Rider, and he still sucked! Also, side note, the characters' outfits change in the cutscenes, so Frederick over here looked like this for the rest of the game.
Look at it! Look at it! Look at it! I want all of you to look at it!
Now let's go over the weapons you'll be collecting in this adventure, shall we? Fire Emblem Awakening features what's known as the weapon triangle. Swords beat axes, axes beat lances, lances beat swords, etc. Now, most of these weapons will only be able to attack enemies who are right in front of you, but there are some variants that can be used at range, such as short axes, javelins, levin swords. There's also spells in the game called tomes. There's fire, wind, thunder, and dark magic. Now, the spells don't follow the weapon triangle, but some of them have good benefits. For example, the wind spell can be used to destroy Pegasus Knights, so just use whatever spell you want, really. However, you should always have a dark mage in your playthrough, because they're the only ones who can use dark magic spells like Nosferatu, which is insanely good in this game, as it heals the user after hitting an opponent.
Nosferatu! I'm gonna kill you!
You'll start the game with low tier weapons like bronze, irons, and steel, but you'll eventually be able to purchase weapons such as the brave weapons, as they can potentially hit up to 4 times if your unit has enough speed. Now, I'm not going to say what weapons you should buy, you do whatever you want in the game. However, go for the killing weapons. Like, seriously, these babies can save you a lot of time and energy. Each killing weapon comes with a boosted crit rate of about 30%. Like, it doesn't matter how low it looks. If it's at least 30, 40, even 50, it will crit. Got a hot pink dancer who needs more levels? Don't worry, it will crit. 100% chance to hit with 0% damage? Don't worry, it will crit. An annoying boss with time limit water clones that spam the same voice line over and over again? Don't worry, it will crit.
Dance, water.
And now we come to the maps themselves. Now, Fire Emblem is known for having some Interesting map layouts, but Awakening is pretty forgiving with the map design. Most maps in the game are big and give you plenty of room to maneuver around, although setting up a choke point to block off too many enemies can be very beneficial to survival. You can also place units within forts to heal up HP, and hide in trees to help better dodge attacks. Now, I don't have a particular favorite map in this game. I enjoy each one equally. However, what I do not enjoy equally are these kinds of maps.
Right now, it's important that we discuss an emergency situation.
Ambush spawns. Gosh diddly dang, ambush spawns. Oh, how I despise these kinds of maps. You see, the game will not so subtly inform you that enemy reinforcements are approaching, and on the turn that they spawn, they get a turn as well. So if you left a unit defenseless by accident, sucks to be you. Now, normally, the game is forgiving with these maps, but there are some maps that just do not tell you about ambush spawns at all. Yeah, thanks for that, game. And oh no, Crom's dead again. Okay, Lucina, how exactly is Crom supposed to change fate if he keeps dying all the time?
It was never about challenging fake Crom. It's about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets. All right, baby. Let's go get a home run, baby. Oh, I love the Mets. Let's go, Mets.
I would have never taken Lucina to be a Mets fan, and here I thought she had no sense of humor. Whatever. Anyways, let's go over the DLC and Spot Pass chapters now. Also referred to as Xenologs, the game has over 8 DLC packs to purchase. Until the 3DS shop goes down, that is. So in total, you get over 25 new maps to play around with. Some of these maps allow you to recruit characters from previous games, like Marth, Roy, and Lynn. However, the Lost Bloodlines 3 DLC allows you to pick up the Dread Scroll, which will allow you to promote a unit into the Dread Fighter, a DLC exclusive class. There's also the Summer and Hot Springs DLCs, which gives you some extra support between characters, as well as eye candy.
Like a perfect 10.
And the ultimate challenge in the game, the Future Missions DLC, where the Shepherds run into an apocalyptic future very similar to the one Lucina escaped from. So yeah, this stuff is so tough, it's broken up into 3 separate parts. And finally, we have the Spot Pass chapters. There are 6 of these maps in total, and can be unlocked at the end of the game. At the end of each battle, you'll be rewarded with units who were previously unrecruitable, such as the Mad King Gangrel, Exile Amarin, Walheart, Yenfei, Aversa, and Priam. Yeah, so that future DLC, Priam over here said, hold my beer, let me show off this army of 50 units. 50 gosh diddly dang units. So the game allows you to take over 29 units into your battle.
You're gonna need all of them.
The Radiant Hero is packing over 7 snipers, 9 warriors, 9 swordmasters, 9 generals, 9 sages, and 7 heroes. This guy's army is so strong, they could take on the final boss of the game if they wanted. And if you thought that wasn't bad enough, Priam over here is packing weapon breaker skills, as well as Luna and Soul skills. He's also level 20 and, oh, he's got Ragnall. Of course he does. They don't call him the Radiant Hero for nothing after all. And when you beat him, if you beat him, you're rewarded with one of the best units in the entire game. But by the time you get him, he's only really good for the DLC maps. But after a long, hard-fought battle, Lucina delivers the finishing blow on Priam by ratioing him on Twitter.
Step aside, June. Let the wife handle this one.
Denied!
I challenge my fate! Yeah!
My shoes were untied, that's all.
This is the Radiant Hero? More like the Miscreant Zero.
Okay, so lastly, let's go over some tips and fun facts about the game, shall we? The barracks can be used to interact with units and find items to use in battle. And if it's a particular character's birthday, they'll get a lot more rewards than normal. You can buy what's called Reeking boxes, which can be used to spawn more enemies for some extra grinding. So go get them. Don't be afraid to reclass a unit. And in all honesty, reclassing someone like Olivia and Lissa into a Dark Flyer just to get them Gale Force can make them a much more versatile unit. The game has 2 endings, and if you want my opinion, let Robin do it. It's the happier ending of the 2, for the greater good. Awakening served as the first FB game for famous artist Yusuke Kozaki, and will go on to be the main character designer for the next game in the series, Fire Emblem Fates. In Chapter 12, if Crom somehow doesn't marry any of his love options, the game will reward him with the true love of his life, the woman who's been in love with him since day one, everyone's favorite lovely long-haired waifu, Random Village Girl.
Well, at least my mother isn't a klutzy, flower fortune-telling, low self-esteem. And Sumia's my mother, isn't she?
How should I know? Ask your mother.
Oh, gods!
So hopefully this video has given you a good idea on what this game is and how it plays. If you wish to purchase this game nowadays, it is still stuck on the 3DS. Thankfully, the game is still affordable after 10 years. Another good but not perfect way to play is through a means that Papa Nintendo despises called emulation. The game itself runs pretty well with the Citra emulator. Heck, your phone can emulate 3DS games no problem. Fire Emblem Awakening is a great, though flawed game that is still an excellent starting point for newcomers to the franchise. And hey, with how much I love this franchise, maybe I'll cover some more Fire Emblem games in the future. It was the game that saved the franchise from literally dying and is still one of my favorite games of all time. Special shout out to Isabelle Amponin for providing the voice of Lucina for this video. Subscribe to her for more Lucina voiceovers. Take it away, Lucy.
Hello, everyone. This is your favorite blue-haired bluebird from the future, Lucina. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, comment, and subscribe to Jude Knight for more videos like this one. Take care.